The Pearl of the Soul of the World by Meredith Ann Pierce, Chapter 2, Underpaths. Fish, delicious fish, each as big as her finger, grilled in oil, with succulent white flesh and bones as soft as sprouting shoots. The pale girl licked her lips and searched the dish for more. She had been with the Duros. How long now? A week of hours? A day month? Here, below ground, without the light of Sol Star and the infinitesimal turning of the stars, she had no sense of the passage of time. Her companions spent hours trampling the endless corridors, laying camp only at long intervals. The Pearl's faint glow passed unnoticed in the darting glare of the finger lamps the Duros carried. Brandel's gaze was always on her, guarded and fascinated. Colum didn't like her. He looked away. Maruja was the kind one, giving her food and drink, even combing out her matted hair, careful now to leave the silver pin alone. The pale girl shivered at the thought of the pin. It never ceased to pain her, but she found that as long as she did not try to remember or speak, the ache was bearable. She and the Duros passed no more open water on their treks, though they crossed many more stream beds, all dry. The underpaths were desiccated, their moisture long vanished, yet Maruja always knew where to find water at need. From time to time, with one well-placed blow of her pick, she could release from the passage wall a thin sprout. Then the girl drank greedily, until Colum shouldered her aside, so that he might fill their water skins. After Maruja stopped the flow with a peg and marked the wall with a complicated scratch, they moved on. Whenever they came to a fork, the Duros paused and consulted a square of parchment, ancient brown and crackling along the folds. The girl saw lines crisscrossing the surface, some of them leading to a great starburst at the center. None of it meant a thing to her. She could not read. Now and again they came upon ancient machinery, and each time the Duros halted to examine it. Long untended, crusted with green and blood-colored flakes, most of it hardly functioned, only the faintest hum coming from its clockwork depths. Some of it did not function at all. Maruja shook her head once sadly when Colum raised to press his ear to a device. "We could save it," he said softly. "It wouldn't take long. Only 100 hours. We could save it. It hasn't been tended in years upon years." Maruja again shook her head more firmly now. "We're just a survey expedition. Mark on the map and others will come to tend to it in our stead." "If it lasts so long," Brandel murmured. Colum rose, scowling furiously, and stalked away. "Perish the witch," the pale girl heard him mutter. From beneath tangled brows he glared at her. "Perish the witch and all her works." More often than not, the paths they took were narrow and precipitous. Maruja usually went first, her finger lamp bobbing. Brandel followed, shepherding the girl, with Colum bringing up the rear. They had taken one such way. Not many hours passed. Bits of ceiling littered the steep grade, which seemed not to have been traveled in an age. "Fine path this is," snorted the bearded Duro, losing his balance and sending a shower of scree down upon the others. If such were all they had in ancient days, it's a wonder any of them survived to reach the city. The last word was mumbled, his voice taking on a superstitious edge. "I've told you this isn't the main path," Maruja snapped, her finger lamp waving wildly as she scrabbled to keep her own footing. "It's back alleys and service corridors we're taking. The pilgrims' roads were sealed long since, you know that." "When Ravenna first withdrew from the world," Brandel ventured. No one answered him. Gingerly he guided the pale girl over the rough, slippery stones. She never lost her footing, moved with an unerring sureness, listening without attention to what the others were saying. The pain of the pin lessened when she did not concentrate. "Do you think we could ever go there?" the young Duro tried again. "To the city, just to see it? We're so close." "No," Maruja threw back over one shoulder. The path was too precarious to let her turn safely, to glower at him. "It's sealed. No one's been to the city of crystal glass in time out of mind." A little silence, the pin stirred. Deliberately unfocusing her thoughts, the girl watched the play of lamplight on the walls for a few moments until the twinging ceased. Behind her, Colum slipped again and cursed. "Oh, stop complaining," Maruja panted. Taking these routes were less likely to meet weasel hounds or others of the witch's brood. Beside the pale girl, Brandel shuddered, but no one said anything more. They had laid camp not long after, and the Duros now sat at their ease. The girl licked her fingers again. There were no more fish. Her eyelids slid sleepily halfway down. Surrounded by companions, she felt safe from the shadow's pursuit. No memories had troubled her during their last march. The pin hardly hurt at all now. She sighed lazily, scarcely heeding what the other three were saying. "Now tell me the use of keeping her," Cullum was muttering, combing his fingers through his coarse grey beard. "Our people have no craft for the removing of such a pin. We are skilled in the maintenance of ancient devices, not in instruments of witchery." Beside him, Maruha sighed. "If only my brother were here. He would have known what to do. Sorcery was always his study, never machines." "Your brother vanished into the upper lands handfuls upon hundreds of years ago," the other answered. "Fine help he is to us now." Their talk subsided. The Duros had been gaming earlier with counters of stone upon a painted board. Now, their diversion done, the board lay to one side. The girl played with one of the small round stones, like a bead it was. If only she had a bore, she could make a hole with it and put in a string. The quiet rumble of the Duros' talk was comforting to her, even if she refused to follow what they said. "Perhaps we should take her back to the Upperlanders," Brandel suggested. "They have sorceresses. Let them heal her." "Aye, that's exactly what the witch would want us to do," grumbled Cullum. "Show ourselves above ground." His voice grew vehement. "So that she can steal us away, as she has done with all our fellows." "Peace, Cullum," the Duro woman said. "We have all lost kith to the witch, but we must not dwell on it. We must go running the machinery of the world as best we can until the ancient Ravenna returns to us. It is all we can do." The Upperlander tossed the bead-like stone in a circle before her, passing it from hand to hand. Other stones from the game board joined it, seemingly of themselves. Someone had taught her to toss stones so once, to pass the time. A blue-skinned girl in Bern. Memory teased and darted away. Quickly, the pale girl willed her mind to emptiness. She tossed the stones without thinking. His back to her, Cullum muttered bitterly. "If the ancient lady were ever to return to us, she would have done so by now. We are lost, and the world is lost." "Courage, fool," exclaimed Maruha. "The Ravenna is dead," the old man said, with a look of alarm. Brandel whispered, "She can't be. If she is dead, then nothing matters," before Maruha shushed him. "Give in to despair, and you give in to the witch," she said to Cullum. Absently, the girl made a figure eight of the stone beads in the air before her and gazed beyond them into the fire, a warm dance of flame shooting upwards from the metal vessel unlike any lamp she recognized. Folding her arms and turning away from Maruha, Cullum caught sight of her. "Now what's she doing?" he cried. "It's more of that tossing. What do you call it? Juggling," Brandel said. She always does that." Stringing bead stones through empty space, she felt the heat of the fire traveling over her skin. She had felt such heat once before, though far hotter, from a far greater and stranger flame, which had lit the pearl and had taken her shadow away. Uneasily, she banished the thought. "Make her stop," the bearded Duro shifted nervously. "It's witchery." "It isn't," Maruha said. "Leave her alone." Abruptly, the girl let the beads fall in a heap beside the board. Even the mindless activity sparked memories which the pin forbade. Pain bit at her skull. Wincing, she shut her eyes and waited for it to subside. She was so weary of the ache. If only she might sit here forever, warm and well-fed, thinking of nothing, fearing, dreaming, anticipating nothing. Silence. "Time I was off," Maruha stirred. She caught up 2 water skins that were empty and started away, calling over one shoulder, "Keep watch and look after the girl," and we will pause there.